I felt really bad about trying to jam an explanation of Final Fantasy XIV into 5 minutes or so, given how much there is, how different it is from Final Fantasy XI, the vexillology of each nation's flag. So I'm back after another week of fighting the Demon 1017 errors and emergency maintenances. Yeah, it's been a bit rough, but the payoff's been worth it all. Any game can have action and thrills and spills and whatnot, but sometimes what you really want is to find a particularly picturesque spot, put on your waders, and fish. Back in Final Fantasy XI, if you wanted to increase your movement speed, your options were at level 25 Thief, level 37 Bard, level 76 Corsair, or level 86 Summoner. That is, unless you wanted to shell out millions of gil for a marginal increase on your gear. Teleportation was the sole domain of white mages, while warping was a black mage task. Every class in 14, from Lancer to Leatherworker, now gets all those at level 1. Though returning to your home point sits on a rather lengthy timer, and teleportation costs a nominal quantity of gil. Don't want to shell out the cash? Find your nearest chocobo porter who will give you an auto-piloting chocobo for a fraction of the cost. Nice if you need to get up and stretch your legs. On the other hand, if you need to be functional while crossing town to deliver $5,000 to the assessor's office for the St. Helen of the Blessed Shroud Orphanage, you can automate rote crafting for up to 99 syntheses, provided you've got the raw materials and it's something you've crafted before. But then you'd be depriving yourself of the chance to use Final Fantasy XIV's overhauled crafting system to fine-tune the quality of your items and greatly increase the EXP yield for making them. But let's get into raids, since that seems to be a selling point for most games. As I mentioned in the first half of this review, the Duty Finder is the gateway to most of the instance content, since 90% of the time it beats yelling your lungs out for that tank you need. When you register, your current job and your selected raids are locked in. You enter a queue to find you a spot with an ad hoc party from your server cluster. Once you're registered, though, you can change jobs and go make some skillets or whatever. When your number comes up, you can change back and instantly transport to the instance. These tend to be more complex than the sit back and wail on whatever moves nature or fates, with more coordinated packs of mobs and some right gimmicky bosses. But then again, what would a Final Fantasy be without gimmicky bosses? The only problem is targeting in fast and frenzied action, especially if your target is like 10 yalms tall. Through it all, Final Fantasy XIV walks a line between referential and reverential, keeping its storyline, characters, and world steeped in a rustic blend of foul-mouthedness and British accents. Now we see the ramifications of the whole Project Rainfall debacle, even while the quest names and achievements reference... deep breath here. Drowning Pool, Inspector Gadget, House MD, Destiny's Child, Lance Armstrong, Shaft, 50 Cent, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, The Bar-Kays, Blue Oyster Cult, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Star Trek, Madonna, American Pie, Dragon Age, Led Zeppelin, Men in Black, My Little Pony, Pimp My Ride, The Doors, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Dance Dance Revolution, Spirited Away, The Cider House Rules, The Fugees, Big Trouble in Little China, Beetlejuice, Flowers for Algernon, Toxic Avenger, Parasite Eve, Sense and Sensibility, Great White, All Dogs Go to Heaven, For Your Eyes Only, Minority Report, MC Hammer, and Star Wars. MMORPGs don't really get second chances. I mean, how many have you watched rise and fall in matters of months? By all accounts, Final Fantasy XIV is an aberration in its own right just on that basis. But this version, well, if you stare long enough, you see the elements from 11, elements from 12, and thankfully just fonts from 13 that came together to make a game greater than the sum of its parts. Once they get their act together, at least. Just forget old 14, condemn it to the back page on the strategy guide of history, and appreciate this rebirth for what it is. Square's mea culpa in playable form. See you on the airship. Yes. I'm amazed I spelled that out.
That was impressive.